Tony Yeboah smashing in a goal off the crossbar. Mark Viduka scoring 4 at Ellen Road. Diego Llorente with a last gasp winner last season. It's the return of another huge rivalry here at Ellen Road. Liverpool are the visitors, and this is the warm-up. So joining us today, Leeds United legend Don Matteo and Leeds United women's Paige Williams. Hello to you both. This is exciting. Massive game, another massive game. Sunday, 4:30. We cannot wait.
Excited is the word. I think we're both on the same page with that, aren't we? We've both got we're in kind of both camps, but not really. We're obviously wanting Leeds to win. But in the other side of that coin for us both is that, we have a little bit of Liverpool as well. So it's an amazing game, one I'm really looking for. I'm really, out of all the games, this is the one I've been excited to see the fans back at Ellen Road with that atmosphere against Liverpool. It's going to be amazing. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, because Paige, with Leeds United women, but of course have played for Liverpool in the past as well.
Yeah, so it'll be good. Like both teams got great fans, haven't they? So it'll be an interesting game. And both teams are going to bring it on Sunday.
And someone else who's had a foot in both camps, Stephen Warnock, former Leeds and Liverpool player, will be giving us the perspective from the Liverpool side of things very shortly on the warm-up. You want to be part of things, the hashtag is the warm-up. Don will have some questions for you later on as well, always open to those. Let's just start first, because it seems like ages since that Patrick Bamford goal at Turf Moor, getting that point for Leeds on the road. Feels like an eternity ago. We've had the international break, and first and foremost, he got that goal, then he got the call up for England, and a start for England as well.
Yeah, and I think it's well deserved, well overdue. I think he's been brilliant, hasn't he, since he came to Leeds. And no disrespect before that, I think Leeds has kind of made him the player he is. We always knew. I generally didn't really realise how much he can play and the effort he puts into every single game. I didn't see it that at Middlesbrough and the other clubs he played at. I generally see it now, whether it's Bielsa or the philosophy is really just working for him. I'm seeing a completely different player, a player who is loving his football, and that call-up for me was absolutely amazing. It gave me a bit of a buzz actually, seeing someone I've spoke to a couple of times, not many times, but a couple, doing really well, speaking so well, because he always speaks quite posh, doesn't he, let's be honest. But I don't mind that.
Just like you, Dom.
He does, yeah, just like me.
Very similar.
But I think he's a great role model. I've said that about a lot of the Leeds players at the moment, role models for the younger players, and he's inspiring people as well. Just shows you, he's coming to get his caps for his club, for his country late. There's nothing wrong with that. I made my debut for Scotland late. It's just the way it is, and when the time's right for him to get his opportunities, he will. I think he should have got more opportunities. Obviously, Harry Kane's the main man, isn't he? And that's the reason. But I think maybe at times, he's got to be a bit more selfish, Patrick Bamford. He'd be making all them runs and not getting the balls that he usually gets delivered. But it's different when you're playing for your country rather than your club. So hopefully, at the weekend, that connection will be back.
And Paige, just to be involved in the club, with Leeds, there's Calvin, now there's Patrick as well. Just as a whole buzz around the club, it makes a difference. Do you feel that as well in the Leeds United women's team, that it all kind of filters through?
Oh, do you know what? Since the start of the season, the way we've had the backing from the club as a whole, having everything on the Instagram, Twitter page, live stream, is us as the girls, we've all said it ourselves, we really do feel the support. So that's another reason why, like you're saying about Patrick, he plays for the badge, and I think all of us now want to play for the badge. A lot of Leeds fans in the team as well, so it's nice to have that support.
Can I just say, I think you're so right there, because I think we lost a bit of identity, at Leeds United, for whatever reason. I think even the ladies and the men are bringing it back now, and that's so good for the club in every aspect, and I'm just so happy that's going on.
Yeah, it's great. We've all said it. You don't hear from it often. I think women's football would be so different if every club was like that. It would be so different, and it's nice to have that. And all the girls are on it as well. We're all feeling it, kind of thing. So we play for the badge at the end of the day, and we get told that if you don't turn up, we lose. But if you haven't played for the badge, then it's not good enough. So it's nice. It's a nice philosophy.
And you've had a fantastic week, which we'll come on to in just a moment. Whilst Patrick and Calvin were off with England, just with Patrick Bamford. Football's about timing, isn't it? Timing, career, things that happen. It's a good time to come into the England fold with the World Cup really not that far away.
Yeah, and also I think Gareth Southgate, he's at Ellen Road more than me. He's at every game. He's obviously lives not far. I'm not going to tell you exactly where he lives or his house number, but you know, I think it's important as well that and he's seeing the work the lads are doing. I mean, Calvin Phillips, I think he deserves all the plaudits he gets because he's been outstanding. But then Paddy comes in now, and hopefully we can get a few more. I think that's how it happens, and I think because Southgate does look at the Leeds players quite a lot because he's quite local. I think Harrogate or somewhere. I don't know exactly, but I think that's great for Leeds as well because he does get to see a lot of games. I'm sure they've got other people watching games as well, but I think what he's brought as well is a way of playing, an identity, just like Leeds have under Bielsa. So I think for the Leeds lads under Southgate, it's been good. It's because it's quite similar in a way, and maybe a little bit more defensive, but in the way they know how to win, they're learning how to win. So I think there's loads of good things to come out of that, and I think Southgate's been doing a great job and giving Patrick his opportunity, and obviously Calvin's been outstanding. For me, probably the most improved player I have seen for years. He's getting better and better and better every week, and I don't want to jinx the kid because he deserves everything he gets at the moment because he's so good.
Calvin Phillips, of course, made his England debut a year ago this week it was. Since then, phenomenal in the Euros. England are undefeated in regular time, 90 minutes, whilst he's been in the team as well. He's gone on to win the England Player of the Year. Gareth Southgate said that he's not surprised at all. He'd seen what he'd done even in the Championship and knew he could step up to that level. The feeling of pride you get, like around here and Leeds fans and everyone watching, it's just immense, isn't it? That he's gone in such a quick period of time to being like the fulcrum of that midfield there. He's
first choice, isn't he? Let's be honest. I mean that. When he doesn't play, they look a different team. I know they've got so many quality players, but I think it's the position he can put himself in at times. Even we've seen for England, he can get forward a little bit more as well because he knows he's got the support in behind and the defence is, they're all well organised. But so I think from Calvin's point of view, it's about progression and improving all the time. Every time I see him, I feel like it's so comfortable to watch him. It wasn't like that when I first seen him play. I'll be honest, he was still a top player, but I think I've seen the improvement so much with him, and it's great to see that. And it didn't come too soon. Obviously, he's played a lot of games for Leeds United, a lot already. So he's just been, I think, a role model for the city as well, which is great. We see all the banners all around Leeds, don't we? All these mural people who are drawing and stuff. And I think it's great to see that because he is from Leeds, and that's sometimes, when I was at Liverpool and I was a local lad playing for your hometown team, as you know yourself, you were at Liverpool yourself before you've come to Leeds. There's something about that, and I think Calvin really epitomises what it means to be a Leeds player. And long may it continue. I'm having a moment here. Okay. We're getting all emotional. It's nice, but Calvin's position, it's quite a specific role in the team. How important is it to have a player who can do the kind of things he does? He can break up play, he's got the passing range, he's got the vision to do all those things. He gives a safety net for those defenders as well. When you're playing in a team, you're a winger, you're getting forward, all right, if you lose the ball, you try and take someone on, but you've got someone back there who can clear up, mop up in case you lose possession. Well, it's important, isn't it? I think he brings the philosophy he takes from Leeds, is working hard in the game, running, covering grounds, picking up everything. He's an engine, isn't he? Like a workhorse, proper workhorse, and he brings it when he plays for his country. And like you were saying, you can see it. He brings what he does at Leeds when he plays for the Three Lions. It's funny, isn't it? It's like a calmness that not many players have. I'll be honest with you, it's when they've got more time on the ball than other people, that's hard to do, and he seems to have a little bit more time than everyone else. So that's a real thing to have. That I never had it. I used to get on with it, head the ball or kick it. But he's got that timing on the ball to take control of the game. And that's probably what he needs to get to. The next level is, can he control a game from start to finish? I think he can, and I think we'll see more of that as the years go on. Well, while those players have been away on international duty, Leeds United women have been busy. You had 3 games in a week, 3 wins in a week. You were talking about the Twitter and the Instagram following. There was a point on Twitter the other night when you were playing Barnsley where every time I refreshed it, another goal was coming in. Yeah. And they were just showing that, Laura Bartup getting 4 against a former club as well. What a game to be involved in. And then against Liverpool, a couple of you playing against your former club there managed to get a late winner as well. Yeah, it's been a great week, to be fair, especially when we obviously, I know she was on the last show and she said we obviously had a tough game against Chorley. It was a game we should have won. We didn't necessarily work as hard as we should have worked, so we knew coming into the fresh week with 3 games to come, we had to bring it, and it's
the hardest game we had was Liverpool Fed, was obviously my old club, and Laura Bartop's old club as well. So we knew that was going to probably be our hardest team in the league, up there with like Durham. But now we got the win, and obviously 3 games, 9 points, and clean sheets as well. We're just on a high, so it's good. It's really
literally like top of the league, right?
Yeah, we are actually top of the league.
Yeah. Good. We are. If you weren't going to say it, I was going to say it. So
I would have said it. I would have definitely said it.
Someone had to mention it. Yeah, Leeds United women top of the league at the moment. One of the main things, I can't believe we haven't got to this yet, but it seems like ages ago when you go for these international games. Dan James, suddenly from nowhere on transfer deadline day, making that huge signing, the signing which nearly happened, didn't quite, and now has eventually happened. It's quite obvious he wants to be here. It's quite obvious Marcelo Bielsa wants him here as well. How good a fit is it, Dom?
I think he's a great fit. I think the one thing we know he has electric pace, which is for anyone you don't want to be playing against. But I know that from a fact, playing against people like Henry, and they roast you a little bit. But that's part of your learning curve. But for him, I think the one thing he's got to bring to the table is that consistency. We talk about that when you sign or you move clubs. It's always a difficult process. He's been at a big club. Well, they say it's a big club. Not for me, it's not. But anyway, he's got to prove himself the player who he is. And obviously, we nearly got him once, and we've got another opportunity, and to hopefully see the best of him, because I don't think we've seen the best of this kid yet. He's still young. He should be full. This kind of game as well. If he gets an opportunity against Liverpool, it's going to be. The perfect debut for me would be at home in front of your home fans against Liverpool. It's a massive game for him. But I think, like you say, he's got some experience. So now he's got to step up, because they've got some good players as well at Leeds. So he'll know that himself. If he wants to be a regular, he's going to have to perform week in, week out. And that word again, consistency. Can he bring that?
It shows intention as well from the club, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I think the intention has been there from the start, and obviously I've been involved with the club only for the last few months, but I've always been keeping an eye on what's been going on, and it's just great to see the improvement in so many different areas of the club. We're talking about the Leeds ladies as well, which is great for me to talk about as well, because we're all learning, aren't we? And I think it's great that we can all stick together and all work together as a unit. That's how the club grows in every department. So I think it's good that we're all in that mindset.
And Pageview, another winger in the Leeds United fold as well. You know exactly what that position is like to play. It's not an easy position. You say, Paige, you've got to beat players, you've got to put the ball in the right place. You don't, the crowd, it's a rubbish cross or whatever. So it's not an easy one, is it? How good is Dan James?
I love him. I live in Wales, so it's nice to see another Welshie in Leeds United. He's a great player. Like, obviously he assisted the winning goal for Wales in the international break just gone. He's, like you said, he's one of them that he's one to watch, like kind of like Calvin Phillips in a sense, where he's growing as well, and he needs a club behind him now that's going to give him the chance to show what he can do, because he shows it when he plays for his country. So it's like, he's got it. He's got such rapid pace and he's got such potential. So hopefully now he's got a club that will back him. Do
you think maybe does he need to be a bit stronger, a bit more physical?
You think that? Yeah. I've always had that problem with me, because I'm not like the strongest of people. But I suppose if you've got a bit of pace, you can kind of get your upper hand. Yeah. But maybe it's a case he needs to be a bit stronger.
He might be wiry.
But he's rapid though, isn't he? So it's all right, he's rapid.
We will be looking ahead to the Liverpool game. Will Dan James get a chance at a bit of glory at Ellen Road? Hopefully so. We'll be looking ahead to that with Stephen Warnock very shortly. We've also got our 9 darts challenge continuing, and we'll be hearing from some of the Leeds United fans as well. Before we do that, let's just look at some of your predictions for the weekend, actually, because it's another big weekend of Premier League action, as you can see on the screen. Let's just pick out a couple of these games here. I guess it's worth picking out Manchester United against Newcastle. Dan James has come here. Ronaldo has gone there, of course. We don't know whether that'll be maybe the first opportunity to see him back in the Premier League. Newcastle then our next opponents after Liverpool as well, Dom. You've gone for a comfortable win, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think for me personally, Newcastle have been a bit of I wouldn't say yo-yo, but they haven't really got to the levels where they want to be. They've got a massive fan base, just like a lot of clubs have, but they have. They're very, very passionate. One team in Newcastle, and they don't half get behind the team. So, I think for me personally, it's about how do they go forward, Newcastle? How do they? Steve Bruce done a great job with the club, but how do they push forward now as a team? How do they get better, or is it going to be mediocre for them again this year? I'm not sure on Newcastle at the moment. I think obviously they're kind of a club for me that they're not really sure under Ashley where they're going. And I think it's difficult for the fans to sometimes listen to all the talk, and when they're not getting results as well, that's obviously difficult. For me, it's important that they need a win, don't they? They've only got a draw so far, so I think it's important they get the 3 points in the bag and try and push forward.
Yeah, we never really want a Man United victory, but then again, we don't really want Newcastle taking in any momentum ahead of next Friday either. So it's a difficult one for us as looking on as Leeds United fans. So there you go, Dom's predictions for this weekend's Premier League action. Maybe you are scrabbling around to decide the last-minute additions to your fantasy football team. If so, and you're wondering, who should I put in for this week? Luke's got a few suggestions.
Here are my top 5 picks for game week 4. Number 1, Bukayo Saka. Arsenal are yet to score in the Premier League and find themselves at the bottom of the table. But this week they have a great chance to grab 3 points against Norwich, and I'm choosing Bukayo Saka as the man to get points for your FPL. Number 2, Mason Mount. Mount has lots of potential to earn you points. He's second in total shots for Chelsea this season, and those killer balls into Lukaku may grab him some more assists. Definitely a good shout to have in your midfield. Number 3, Andreas Christensen. We're going for another Chelsea player in Christensen. Chelsea have been pretty solid at the back so far in the Premier League, and I fully expect that to continue against Aston Villa this weekend. Will Christensen get a clean sheet? It's possible. Number 4, Jack Grealish. Grealish has got an assist and a goal in his last 2 games and is yet to perform at his best for Manchester City. Will this be the week that he shines for his new club? And finally, number 5, Harry Kane. Kane has blanked so far in the Premier League against Watford and Wolves, but he's been on the score sheet in each of England's 3 qualifiers, so he's back in form in front of goal. Get him in your team and maybe captain him as well.
So we've already got 2 players on the warm-up who've played for Leeds and Liverpool. Let's join in with a third. Stephen Warnock joins us on the show today. Stephen, great to have you. It's a huge game. You know what it's like to play for both clubs. What's the excitement like on that side of the Pennines?
Well, I think there's a feeling that against Chelsea, Liverpool got a draw and they felt they should have had more, but they know how much of a challenge this is going to be. I think when you think of the game last season at Ellen Road, where the fans weren't in, but it was such a difficult game, and Leeds matched Liverpool throughout the game and made it very difficult for them. I think they understand the challenge that's ahead, and it's always that little bit more difficult going to a packed Ellen Road as well.
What do you think, Stevie, on the way Liverpool and Leeds might set up? I just think the full-backs are so important for both clubs. I think Liverpool, attacking-wise, as wingers, maybe not wingers, as full-backs, I just think they might just have an edge with, obviously, Robbo and Trent. Leeds need to match that, don't they, defensively, because they can get into good areas and create things that are obviously going to cause Leeds problems.
Yeah, I think when you look at Liverpool's start of the season and the way that they've sort of attacked again, you look at Mane, and Mane looks happy, he looks fit, he looks strong, and that obviously helps Andrew Robertson being able to go forward. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, we know the sort of sticky period he had in the middle of the season, but then his form towards the second half of the season, the latter end, if you like, was phenomenal, and what he showed. And that is Liverpool's biggest danger, is getting the fullbacks forward, but utilising the wide players as well. I think what you'll find from Leeds is that what we tried to sort of do last year to balance it was to almost hold the fullbacks back a little bit, not to be so adventurous. And when you've got Mane and Salah in such great form, and I know it's only early on the season, but even the pre-season form's being exceptional as well, is being a former fullback, I'd be so reluctant to bomb forward because of the pace that they've got and the ability on the counter attack. But it's very difficult when you're playing at home against in front of a packed crowd, is to hold yourself back and put the reins on. And I totally agree with you, though, Dom. I think the game will always, for Liverpool, be won in that way, where the fullbacks are getting forward and causing so many problems.
Liverpool were 17 points off City last season, sort of well off the pace really, but actually ended the season along with Leeds as one of the best formed teams. Liverpool have continued that into the start of this season as well. Is there a sense that they're getting back to where they were before that patchy sort of season that they had last season?
Yeah, I definitely think they are. I think the balance of the team is obviously better with Matip and Van Dijk back in them in central defensive positions. Losing both Henderson and Fabinho into then centre half positions, just it hampered Liverpool so much in the way that they pressed, and they were always sitting a lot deeper because they were vulnerable over the top. Whereas now with those two players at the back, they look a lot more comfortable. I think what was interesting when Liverpool were going through such a bad patch was you couldn't see them putting together a run again. You just couldn't see it whatsoever. And like you say, the way they finished the season last year was quite brilliant. I think Leeds have obviously had a little bit more of a difficult start to the season. I think teams now will look to get midfield runners in behind the back line because of the way that they play man for man. I think it'll be a challenge for Leeds this year. I'm going to have to be careful saying this, but I think success for Leeds this year will actually be just staying up.
Sorry, your Zoom's cutting out there, Stephen, mate. We're just losing you there a bit, mate.
Yeah, but I still think that's a progression for Leeds because we see so many second season syndromes, don't we, where teams get sussed out a little bit, and I think this Leeds team is beyond that. I still think it's good. I still think they'll finish close towards the mid-table, but I think it'll be a little bit more difficult for teams or for Leeds this year to beat teams. I think the signing of Dan James is really good because now it gives them a different dynamic in the way that they attack. They will be more of a counter-attacking team, but you can also move Rafinha into that central position or Jack Harrison into that central position, which just frees up options up front. I was quite worried about the forward players just not having enough depth off the bench or enough quality off the bench to play. But now I look at that Dan James sign and
yeah, I've just got a quick question for you. So obviously Bielsa brings in like the younger players through Leeds, and obviously Klopp's kind of mimicking that with Harvey Elliott. I was wondering what your thoughts on him this season, obviously starting for Chelsea and things. You know, how good is he?
Train with young players. I mean, you guys all know what it's like. They often need 2-3 touches to settle themselves on the pitch to see what's around them. He's got the picture 2-3 moves before it comes into him. He's got the ability to play one touch and understands when to play one touch, when to carry the ball. He's also the type of player, and you'll have come up against these players before, where he's quicker when he runs with the ball. And it's very strange when players are like that, but he's got this ability when he runs with the ball full speed. It's under control, but it's at such a pace that he's always comfortable when he's doing it. I think when you look at the games that he started this season, there's an ability to look forward every time when he gets on the ball. There's not a negative pass in his or negative thought in his head. And I think it's perhaps one of the reasons Jurgen Klopp hasn't looked in the transfer market for another midfielder, because he believes that technically and tactically he's streets ahead and way beyond his years. He's actually probably pushed himself in front of Curtis Jones at the moment. But I know from speaking to players at Blackburn last season when they came in, they couldn't believe the quality that he possessed and what he actually saw. I'm not going to name a couple of the players that I spoke to because it probably might be a little bit disrespectful, but they actually said he was almost too good. He needs people who make runs for him that he can see, that he does see, and he can execute them passes as well. So going into this Liverpool team, he's got a confidence and an arrogance about him, but a nice arrogance about him. And I think it's we say it's going to be a big season for him, but when you look at what he's capable of doing, he will fit into that Liverpool team very, very well.
It's great to have you on the one, but you obviously know both clubs inside out. Looking ahead to the game itself, comfortable Leeds win?
Yeah. Listen, I think I just think it'll be a really close affair. I do think it'll be one of those games where this game needs an atmosphere and it needs tackles, which I'm sure we'll see. I think it wouldn't surprise me if it was a draw, but I still think Liverpool will just edge it with the way that they started the season. I think Leeds will be a little bit nervous because of the start that they've had. And that's where, again, I talk about the second season sort of syndrome, where you are a little bit edgy, but there's going to be fireworks. I can't wait to be at the game. I'm at the game working myself, so I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully, people don't watch this and give me too much stick and give me.
We won't. Maybe
the kind. But no, I think it's going to be a great game, and this is exactly what we've been waiting for so long, for Leeds United to be back in the Premier League at full capacity, playing the likes of Liverpool and Manchester United, and that's what it's all about.
Stephen, great speech here. Stephen Warnock there, who'll be coming to Ellen Road in disguise now to avoid bumping into any Leeds United fans. Great speech. Enjoy the game, mate. Well, the visit of Liverpool on Sunday will also see the visit of hundreds of Scandinavian Leeds United fans heading over. The supporters club are out in force, and we caught up with their chairman, Anders Palm.
I'm Anders Palm, and I'm the chairman of LUFC, who's the Leeds United Supporters Club of Scandinavia. We started out in 1980, so it's a little bit over 40 years ago. Two guys in Fredrikstad, place in Norway, started out the club. Now we're close to 8,000 members, mostly Norwegians, but we also have some members from Denmark and Sweden. We are organizing trips to see Leeds. We are organizing local gatherings in Norway and Sweden and Denmark. We also have Christmas parties. We try to bring in some ex-players. We just try to spread the word about Leeds to everybody. I think it's from back in the 70s, because when I grew up, we only had one TV channel, and they showed every Saturday, they showed a match of the day. And we grew up with English football and the trading cards and the Shoot magazine and everything, and we just got an English favorite team, everybody. We just fell in love with Leeds. I don't know why it's such a strong support for Leeds compared to some other clubs at that time, but I think it's just when you fall in love with Leeds, you're just there. Of course, it's a lot of people at my age, in their 50s, and passing it on to the children. But also there's some new fans coming on, and of course with Leeds playing this attractive football that we do now, it's attracting new fans as well. So I mean, what Bielsa did for the club, well, he just saved us. But some of them go often, some of them maybe once a year, some of them have never been to Ellen Road, and some go, maybe like 5-10 times during a season. So, and it's really good to be back. I really, felt a special feeling when I, came for the Everton game, 3 weeks ago, and stepped out of the train at the Leeds station, and I just felt, good feeling. They made a song, We're Coming Out to Play. It's a tribute to how we are today, how Leeds play today. I mean, we're back, in the top division, and we're coming out to play. We're coming out to play football. We are Leeds United, united through and through. A team of fans together in everything we do.
The 9 Darts Challenge is on the way, plus your questions for Dom and Paige as well. Just final thoughts really on this mouth-watering tie, really, Dom. What's the key message for the Leeds players going out into that atmosphere against, one of the best teams in Europe?
Enjoy it. I generally, I'm not just saying this, I love the big games. I love playing in the big games. That's what you're all about as a player. You want to play at the highest level, and this is the highest level. We've seen what Liverpool have achieved. Can Leeds match that, I suppose, and the endeavour. And I think as well, we've got two great managers as well. Let's give them credit as well. Bielsa and Klopp, brilliant people, brilliant football people. I just love people who are so in love with the game. Them two love the game and you know everything inside out. Lucky I've spoke to Jurgen Klopp myself personally and chatted to him. What a man. You've got to give him credit of what he's done. And the same with Bielsa, what they're trying to do. It's very similar in the way they're doing stuff. Attention to detail is absolutely everything with both them clubs, and there'll be no stone unturned before this game. I generally think hopefully it'll be a game that everyone will enjoy. I think that everyone's going to be, Ellen Road's going to be absolutely rocking. The Liverpool fans will be travelling up nice and early, I'm sure, to get involved in this. But yeah, it's one I'm really excited about. I'm really looking forward to, and generally do I generally do obviously want Leeds to get a win because I think they need it. But obviously it's a difficult one for me with my alliances for both camps at times. But for me at the moment, I'm supporting Leeds United and I want them to do well.
Absolutely. Your question's coming up in just a moment. Before we get to that, professional boxer and Leeds United fan Ebony Bridges was on the undercard at the Josh Warrington fight at Headingley last week. Of course, taking her record now to 7-1 with another victory. But more importantly than that, here on the warm-up, she's been taking on the 9 Darts Challenge.
Hi, I'm Ebony, the blonde bomber Bridges, and this is my 9 Dart Challenge. Oh, gotta do better than that. Oh, ooh. You said I did a backflip, that one. That didn't work. All right, 3 more. Oh, damn!
Well, as always, if you want to be a part of things, use the hashtag #TheWarmUp to send your questions in. Dom, first question's for you. It's actually about that 4-3 game that you played in, Mark Viduka scoring the 4 goals. It comes from Katie from Leeds. One of my earliest Leeds memories is Viduka smashing 4 past Liverpool. You've got a big smile on your face already. What was that game like to play in, and what was Viduka like to play with as well?
Let's start with the big man, Big Viduka. I'm still in contact with Big Viduka. He's out in Croatia at the moment. He is a top guy, so laid back. He's probably the one player I think the Leeds fans would like to see the most. He's got a bit of class about him in the way he talks. He's so laid back. But you know, if you think about the actual player, Mark Viduka, he was unbelievable. On his day, anything played into him at pace. The firmer you put it in, the better. That's the better for him because he could control it. His touch was brilliant. They say he was big. I don't think he was. You know, I'm not saying I've seen him stripped off, obviously, but you know, he was. People used to say he was big, but he wasn't big. He was solid. That's the way some people are built. He was a top striker, very hard to play against. Played against him a couple of times myself over the years, but he was brilliant. I think one of the best players I've actually played with in that mould, who could play that centre forward position and kind of do a bit of everything, and also bring other people into the game, because that's what his real kind of the magic came from him and Alan Smith, really playing as a partnership. So them together were just an amazing partnership. I know obviously Alan went to do what he did, but in a lot of ways they did work so well together. One of the best partnerships I've played with, because they were just electric. And Big Viduka's, like I say, his first touch was world class. I really mean that. You know, Viduka could have played for anyone. He loved it at Leeds. He didn't want to leave, but obviously when things happened he had to go. But what a player. I mean, I can't speak highly enough about Viduka. He's a brilliant guy. And obviously now he's going through my problems. He was on the phone to me and stuff. He's a brilliant fella and well loved at Leeds.
And that 4-3, I mean, us fans still talk about that game.
Yeah.
It was a crazy game. About to play in, to watch it all unfold. And when those 4 goes in, it's obviously in front of you as the player because you're sort of towards the back. What's that like to watch? Is it right up there for you with one of your Leeds games?
Not for me. I had a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. Because they were decent, Liverpool as well. Obviously, you got to remember the players they had. So it felt like Viduka got us out of one as well because he was that good. But I think when you're involved in a game like that, it's kind of just happens, and it goes so fast. Games like that, they go too quick in a way. I was just happy to get out at 4-3, but thanks to the big man. If it wasn't for the big man, there's no way in the world we'd have won that game. It was just one of those outstanding performances that I'll never forget that, ever, because he was, like you say, the way he played, and I think did Patrick Berger do his knee that day, and someone else, was it Jamie? There was a few injuries because he twisted them up that much, the players he was playing against. They were all over the gaff, and they were talking about top players. You know, I think Carragher was playing as well, and he had a bit of an off day as well. I think we all did, to be honest. It was only Viduka who actually had a good day.
Well, now we know why you speak so highly of him, because if it hadn't been for that, we'd be talking about your defending in that game rather than his 4 goals.
But I don't mind hammering myself. That's part of it.
There's another question here. Remember, it's hashtag the warm-up to be a part of things. This is from Alan, a big Leeds fan, exiled in Liverpool. So there you go, another one with a Liverpool connection. This weekend's a massive game for me because of where I live and work. I can barely deal with the pressure, and I'm not playing, says Alan. Alan, you'll be okay. What strategies do you use when preparing for a big game? Come to you, Paige, first. You know, you've got a big game. You had that game against Liverpool. You won it 1-0. How do you prepare going into that? Is it a bit different when it's a bigger game?
I mean, I'm probably the worst person to ask because in the team, I'm the most nervous all the time.
You're the Alan of the team, basically.
I am the Alan of the team. I just don't deal. I deal with pressure all right, but I just want to do so well. I get so nervous, and sometimes it's like not the best thing because I do work myself up a lot. But I think it's easier for me to deal with it when I'm surrounded by a good bunch of girls anyway, and we're all wanting the same thing. So it's just making sure you're focused on what your goal is for the outcome of the game, and just focusing on that, because if it's not, you don't get that, you're gonna feel rubbish afterwards, aren't you? So, but no, I'm not great dealing with pressure, but hopefully now I'm getting more confident and I'm enjoying my football more. Obviously being at Leeds, and I'm with a great bunch of girls, got a great big club backing the girls. Like, hopefully I'll deal with things a little bit better.
Well, big game for you, of course, against Wolves away in the Cup, so good luck with that, Paige. Absolute pleasure having you on the warm-up. Don, whatever happens this weekend, be a few WhatsApps flying your way from
sure there will.
Either side, I'm sure.
Looking forward to it.
Pleasure as always. There you go, Leeds United taking on Liverpool. It's a huge game in the Premier League here at Elland Road, and your commentary team on LUTV will be Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo. Enjoy the game.